All right, guys, and welcome back. For my blue belt, there's been some changes to what is the requirements of blue belt, and what they're saying is you can do a project, or it's not just a challenge lock, which I think is fantastic because it actually allows a more broader contribution to the lock sport community. And yeah, so my favorite topic here is tensioners. Obviously, because tensioning is a very large portion of lock sport. I mean, if it's not 60, 70 more percent of picking a lock, if you don't have the right tension, you're not going to come right. So, as we all start out with cheaper sets, we get we get cheaper tensioners. And I also started off with a cheaper version of the pry bars. And you can see I've got multi-pick now. I do also have the COVID instruments, all three per set. And so you start off with these, and you're actually creating a problem for yourself because you see, if you look at this in a lock, um, you're not really getting a tremendously snug fit. So half your time is spent fighting with a tensioner, and you're not really, it's not going in really tight and snug. I mean, if you look at that, for example, I think that's the wrong one. But, for my American 1100, I've been using this one in what you call top of the keyway, and that's great. And yeah, every tensioner set has got its pluses and minuses. The minus of this is that I find it's a little bit too short this side. The width is tapered, so that does work. And then if you look at the Reaper tensioners, they're great, and they really do work well. I mean, these are amazing, especially that little drop there that you can get in there. There's only one small problem with this is that this is for American use, and the American locks sit that way, our South African locks sit that way. So when you start learning how to use or how to pick locks, you're going to find yourself with your lock being that way, and then that's kind of how you get used to picking. So when you're faced with this, you sometimes you're not able to pick upwards. So I find that to be a bit of a problem at times, and then that is too short or too wide because it's not tapered there. Yes, it works in here. No, it doesn't. It's way too short, and with that bit. So I have ordered the two-in-one turning tools from COVID Instruments, waiting for them to arrive. And like I say, you can't have enough tensioners. You just can't. So if you try and get this the way you used to doing it, let's find the number two here on the Reaper. It's actually now just in the way. And not to knock these, they're really great, and I love them to bits. I keep them in my everyday carry, but they don't work for me often when it comes to single pin picking. So that is a bit of a problem, and so I do find what you would call a top of the keyway tensioner more good for me. It's more what I'm used to, and especially with very high low bitting, obviously we know that. So, but you don't always find the right one. I mean, every set is different. I have a number of them, and I usually keep them. What I did do with these cheaper ones, the cheaper set, is just nib them off there because most of our South African European locks do not have these. They're not serviceable, so they don't have that gap. And these serve me well, but again, what you're looking at is different widths, same thickness, and it's that thickness that matters mostly with tensioners. Because, like I say, you do want a real nice, snug, tight fit. So I find that to be a bit of a downfall when you're starting off on your lock sport journey. My cheaper pry bars, if you want to call them that. What happened was that I found they were cheap, and they just completely put me off them because you spend more time running across the room, flying them. You know, when they go flying, to go and grab them and struggling with the tensioner. No, you need your tensioner to go in, and it must sit snug and be done, that you can worry about your picking. Obviously, with the thinner stuff, you have less feedback. So a lot of guys are using wiper blades. They're using this little bit of steel in there, which is stainless steel, and but again, your width and thickness remains the same, so it does work. I just find it not as versatile. So I can make tensioners for you, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be making tensioners. A little bit of history. We do a lot of gate motors. They all have wafer locks, so wafer lock tensioners are very important for me. The pick is meaningless because any of these picks are going to open up a wafer lock, but the tensioner is quite pivotal. And so we are going to be making the tensioners. You're going to notice these two little. I'm going to show you what they're for in a bit. I use them all the time, and yeah. So let's get cracking. So what do we use? So basically, the point of this video is not to be creating products, but to offer you a solution to making your own products. And that is anything from snap guns to lever wires to wire tensioners to lock tensioners to everything. And what I've found, because I do a bit of welding also, is if you get yourself off to a welding store or an engineering shop, you can actually buy TIG welding filler rods. So these are with a TIG welder, you're creating an arc and then you're filling in with it. And these are fantastic. They come in two sizes. So, well, they're probably 3 or 4, but these are 1.6 mil and these are 2.4 mil. And what I also like about them is, I don't know if I can even get this to focus, is they have a little flattened bit at the back, which the numbers, so this is KK308L, so this is 308 grade stainless steel. So you've got yourself a piece of stainless steel that's already flattened and ready to be turned into a tensioner of any sorts. You don't even need to discard the rest because these little offcuts I use all the time. So let's start off with the first one. I think before we get on to the American, I'm going to show you some that I have made already. That might shorten this video a bit. And here is a Euro cylinder. And oopsie, we can't see at that angle. So picking a Euro is one thing. Opening the actual lock is another. So what I've done is I've already made one. And on this particular one, there's in the previous video, it fits in there. I've got a nice snug fit there. And what I did was I actually painted it up and I just hung keys off it. And then just used, you can use a spoon or a shallow hook or something and rake this open with that. Just from the weight of the keys, put exactly the right amount of tension on. So like I said, let's get this open real quick. And I can put some very light tension. And it's open, but the lock isn't open. Now what happens is, as this turns around here, you've got, now this is from there you can see it's just a bit smoothed out, from the 2.4 TIG filler wire. And just make sure you get stainless steel. Just on that, guys, I mean, you can go to any welding shop. They'll probably sell this, and it's dirt cheap. Or you can go to an engineering shop near you, and I'm quite sure the guy will give you a couple of stainless steel filler rods for free. You know, if someone came to me, I said, I want to do this, I'll say, here you go, here's a handful, knock yourself out. So what I found is that with the Euros, you have to turn them 360 plus 360 to get a lock like this open. It's double action, and then when you get to this point, the driver pins are actually going to shoot out and come into the top there. So I like to jam in a little bit of 1.6 TIG filler wire, and there you get a smooth transition past that point. So there's already a use for you for your 2.4 TIG filler rod and the 1.6. Brilliant. Here's another one. Let's put that out the way. Recently picked these up. I really enjoy the Yale Y10, mostly because its feedback is fantastic. And, there's a couple of spool pins chucked in, so I got a little one. And I thought, oh, blimey, I can't get any of these other tensioners in. So I made a little one from the 1.6, and it fits snug in there, and it's in. It's great. I've got the perfect amount of feedback and a nice tight fit, as you can see. And this Yale also, I picked up a few of them off Takealot. They were really cheap, and I'm getting a nice amount of tension in there. Good tension control and leads to good picking. That's the the bottom line here. So I think we're going to start off with the wafers. So this is the multi-pick jackknife, and I've got a wave rake for it. Now, like I say, anything is actually going to, it's magnetized. Wow, I know that. I didn't, anything will open it, but it's a tensioning. Now, this is the little Chinese one I got from a very cheap Takealot set, and a little keyring goes through there, and I keep that on a keychain with the multi-piece pick jackknife all together in the bag. So when I get to a gate motor and it's a wafer lock, which is gate motors are the most lost keys around. So these are very, very, very useful to me. I'm using them almost on a daily basis. This is the Y tensioner for multi-pick if you don't feel like making your own. And it's a really fantastic piece of kit. They even have a little washer here that slips over the end and goes into your pick bag like that. So that's great. I've got that for that. And essentially what we're doing is we're getting one in there, one in there. And as you can see, you do want a snug fit like that. You do want it to be fitting really, really good. So you have really, again, as same as pin tumblers, if you don't have control over this tension, you're not going to pick it. So we're going to have a little stab at this and see if we can get it open. There you go. That's what we want. And so I'm going to first of all be making one of these, and then we can move on to the American. So here is one I've already done a bit of, just get this camera angle different and tighten that. Done a bit of leg work, and I've just bent this over, tied it up. And this is MIG welding wire, but any wire will do. And so just to keep the video short, there you have it. That's the Y. Now we need to change it into the tension a bit. So at around about there, we're going to jam it in the vise. Where, I'll tell you where. Let's do it there. And bend it over. Now, I don't like heating stainless steel, because you can overheat it and you'll cook the chromium out, and it's no longer stainless steel. So you want these even, and I don't want them at too much of a 90 degree, because the downfall of this is that is a 90 degree. Now I've found with some of these combination safes, they have a wafer lock bypass, but they have mechanism here, and you can't get in there with this. And if you try and trim it, it doesn't sit snug and pops out the whole time. So that's why on this one, I'm keeping it at a bit of an angle, like that I can hopefully clear that mechanism, and we have a Y tensioner that doesn't quite fit. So we're done with that, guys. For now, let's see what we've got. We have a little bit there and a little bit there. So I'm going to be making some noise here. It's a little battery grinder. Let's see the back first. Maybe that will fit better now. I'm very lazy. I don't like using a file. So I'm not actually trying to get it in there because we're not quite finished with the shaping just yet. So that side fits in, and that side fits in. We are a little bit wide, so we can adjust it a bit. A little bit more in this one. It has gotten a bit warm. Now, we don't want to give it too much metal memory, but I think we're okay with that. And then a little Dremel. And I think we might have a Y tensioner. We might. It's always good to keep a bowl of water so you don't do what I'm about to do, and that is grab it with your hands when it's nice and warm. There you have it. Little Y tensioner. And the lock is open. That one sits in your bag and all is good. That's a really, really solid one. I mean, that really is just, it ain't falling out. So there's your 2.4 filler wire. You can chuck that in your bag and you're pretty set on a Y tensioner. If you break it, now with my luck, this lock isn't going to open. City rake or a snake rake is actually better for this. But there you go. We've opened it. So we got the opener. So far we got the Y tensioner. We have Euro cylinder. And we have a mini one for the padlocks. I'm quite fond of that. I've never made a Y tension. I think it's great. But as you can see, this you can bend up. You can actually bend it up and use it for your wires, for lever locks on. Probably going to need a vise for that. Just to give a good clean 90 degrees. So now we are back to this. I'm going to take the 2.4 because now I need one for the American lock. And you see here by the stamp bit, I'm going to cut it off at the end of the stamp bit because I want as much as possible out of that. I shouldn't be using pliers because it's going to destroy it. The pliers, that is. It's very hard. I mentioned it gets hot. And now we have the first thing that I'm going to do is just remove this stamp on it to make it smooth. Ow. So there we have. Let's see if we can get some focus there. Will it fit? We're going what you call top of the keyway, and it is still very wide. So we have a bit of grinding to do. Like a sanding disc on a grinder. It looks like Christmas here. So I'm sure by now you've gathered that it's easier to do this. We're getting there. To do this before we bend it. Remember, sometimes you can grind a little bit further back deeper, so you don't want to go too wild with this just yet. But we do need to go a little bit more wild. You don't want to cut my multi-pick bags, they're quite expensive. That's great. Now, while it's still warm, let's get it in the vise and give it a bend. See, if you put a blowtorch on this, it's stainless steel. Stainless steel is stainless steel because you're cooking, it's got chromium in. When you overheat it, it cooks the chromium out. And that is what removes its stainless steel properties and strength. So I've got a bit of an angle on this. And that's it. I mean, most of the work is already done for you by the factory. So when I look at this, remember now you don't want it sticking out too far. And you also don't want, so we can take quite a bit off, about 8 mils. Let me not make a mess of this. After all that, if you do lock sport, get a Dremel. I think it's a sweet spot there. I think that's the stuff, eh? Oh man, that's great. I could probably take a little bit more off, but let's make it shorter. And let's make it the same size as another tension oak around about there. It's still warm. So now when I want to do my American, I have a very snug, very comfortable, oh, I'm going to keep this, tensioner, which is just holding it just right. I can even take a little bit off there, just to give me a bit more clearance in the keyway. Guys, I think we've actually hit it here. This is perfect. I'm going to use this. I'm clearing the lock. I'm clearing the key pin. Let's get a pick of sorts in there. And number one. I actually think that was meant for single pin picking. In fact, it probably was. I'm going to need a longer hook. You can hear that. That sounds great. That was fun to do. But anyway, I've got my American Picked on video for the green belt. This is for the blue belt, but I can already feel there I've got a bit of movement on that. So it's going to be quite funny if just wrapping up this video, pick an 1100 again on video. I might save the rest for now. This I'll record this one after practicing on it, and yeah, I had I think I did those serrated pins in. So this has got a brand new coin, same key, and I got to tell you, it behaves differently with the new core. So, but I can feel exactly what's going on in there, and that's what you want. You want that control. So there you have it, guys. 3 useful little tools. 1, 3, 4, 5 useful little tools out of a little bit of TIG filler wire. Now, isn't that a lot better than a windshield wiper? I think so. Anyway, thanks for watching. I do hope this is considered enough of a contribution for the Locksport community. And so I can whack this, I think, what is it? Blue belt. Yeah, blue belt. Now we just have to pick the lock. And then we're there. Thanks for watching.